Hey guys, how's it going? Jared here with Ducks and Dice. Just throwing out a ramblings of an LGS owner video for you guys since I didn't do one last week. I had a rough Saturday, I guess, with just like mental BS. Um if it wasn't for the minions, I probably would have had to have shut the shop down and like went home, but anywho, shout out to the minions for picking up where my bitch ass just kind of like left off and, had to go take care of things. So, anywho, I don't really have, I mean, there's stuff to gripe about, like market conditions and everything, but it's nothing you guys haven't heard before. Nothing you guys probably don't hear from any other creators that you watch. So I don't really want to beat dead horses or anything. At least not this week. Maybe next week, but not this week. Oh shit. That's what I get for sitting there with my hand on my face for 10 minutes before deciding to hit the record button. um, Anywho, uh, I watched Rudy's video last night and kind of this morning, digested some of it. And yeah, I know, Rudy, love him, hate him, whatever, don't care. I like the dude. He's about 80% accurate with everything that I give a shit about, so it's a pretty good track record. I actually have one of his shirts hanging up in the shop, and despite what some of you may think, it's been pretty overwhelmingly like positively received. Um, so if that tells you anything about the screaming Timmies on the internet and all that, but I don't want to go into like the financial aspect that he did with his video merely because it's pertaining to me. I do such a small scale on that like it matters, but it doesn't matter. um so I'm not really gonna go into that one. I'll maybe touch on it with some of the points here and there throughout this video, but I guess kind of more or less things that I wanted to touch on would be what he said in his video about how your LGS is basically like your human meat shield for everything else involved in the supply chain, which I've mentioned before in a couple of videos, but you know, um, you guys can be all like pitchfork, rah rah rah, I hate X, Y, and Z, boycott X, Y, Z, whatever. And like while I might share the same sentiments because, I'm pretty fucking open with you guys about everything, and you guys know that. Like if you're local, I just kind of let shit fly and it is what it is, but at the end of the day, all of that shit really just hurts your LGS. I mean, especially small ones. I'm not just like beating my own little bush here, like I'm a small LGS, look at me, but any of them around like your local area that probably only has like one, maybe two shops or some shit, like that shit really just hurts us. Um, at the end of the day, because if I don't know, we'll say like the boycott is successful and shit doesn't sell, you guys don't buy stuff. Well, if you don't buy stuff, you don't buy stuff from us, and we've already sank the money into it to get the product here. So everyone along the food chain there has made their money. Wizards makes their money from selling to the distros. The distros make their money back from selling to us. We try like fuck to make any kind of money we can back from selling to you guys. And a lot of the times that margin is nowhere near what you guys might think. Um, it. Yeah, we might be able to buy like collector boxes for 185, 190, 180, some shit like that. And maybe flip them for 220, 225, you know. Um, and that's just a huge maybe. Um, those margins, I guess, look good to just some random person out there, but you know, this is a volume game. If you aren't pushing out cases upon cases upon cases of shit, you're not making any money. That, I don't know, we'll say $20 a box or whatever, doesn't really add up to a meaningful number unless you're selling a shit ton of stuff. Um, and that's just kind of the way it is, and that's kind of the way it's almost always been, except stuff used to be a little bit cheaper, so like your margins were a little bit better. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, you know, the fuck WotC, Hasbro, don't buy from them, just do singles, or even any other card game that you may or may not be saying that to right now. It doesn't really hurt them, despite what you may think. It hurts us. Um, you're you're thinking of, well, if I boycott this, then there's not going to be enough demand for their product and something will happen. I mean, you're not 100% wrong in thinking that, but if you're trying to pull that shit with, you know, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, uh, shit, dude, even the little game, I say little, but the smaller games like Flesh and Blood or Weiss or however the hell you want to pronounce it, um, even like some of the Bandai games like Digimon or like especially One Piece. That, God, that's a fuck show. But anyways, really, realistically, any of these games that have been around for more than 2 or 3 years or whatever, it's not really going to do much to them. They've cultivated a following, you know, nationwide, worldwide, or whatever, which I think that's kind of actually what's keeping Flesh and Blood alive. Is like they're super popular everywhere but here. You know, I mean, like here's popular enough, but like it's really other countries that are like giving them their main bit of income. Um, but yeah, like they don't really give a shit, dude. By the time they've made their product, by the time they sell it to a distro or whatever, you know, distribution avenue they take, even if it's just selling direct or whatever, by the time you see the product in the store, they've made their money. Um, the only way that a game really fucks up is if the management isn't quick enough to respond, or they just don't know what the hell they're doing, kind of like we saw with MetaZoo, which is, I never saw the lure in that whatsoever. I always thought that was pretty dumb, never got onto it. Thank God I didn't. But like the main reason that one faltered was pretty much because of the shitty management. Same as Force of Will. Force of Will still has a really, really, really dedicated small group of people that buy their shit all the time because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really not that bad of a game. It's popular among the people who want to, you know, play it and all that good stuff. But the thing that caused Force of Will to fuck up as bad as it did was horrible management. Um, so yeah, like it's not going to be your boycott of whatever. It's going to be the management that fucks up as far as like card games that have survived for an X amount of time. You know, like your little startup games and all that shit, yeah, by all means, if you decide that like you don't like it and don't buy the product and so forth, and yeah, that will kill a freshly started, newly minted game in a heartbeat. um, but once something has legs under it, it's pretty much going to cultivate a following. It's going to get what it needs to get, and it's going to stay around long enough as long as the management or the people who are running it or whatever the fuck, the people who make decisions actually listen to a community and make the correct or as correct as can be decisions. Um, you know, personally, like I think one of the big falters of that would be like going public and having like other people you have to answer to, like, stockholders and shit like that. Like, I don't understand. I understand why companies do it, brings in a shit ton more money and all that good stuff. But then you're just beholden to someone else and their fucking points of views and shit. And like, when you started the company or whatever, you probably had no. You probably wouldn't run it in the way that it has to be ran if you go public. So that's another whole other tangent that I don't want to get going on, because like if for some strange reason my shop ever takes off and end up like having multiple locations and all that good shit, I'm never going public. Like, fuck that. No matter how appealing the zeros at the end of that check might be, this is mine, dude. Like, I run this motherfucker how I want to run it, when I want to run it, and I like it that way. And apparently a lot of other people do too. Um, and that's probably how I would run it, even if I had like 9 locations. It would be pretty much the way that I want to do it, which would be kind of how I approach this shop too. The flowers arrange themselves. It's not like I would be some kind of authoritarian, like, bang the hammer, like this is, oh shit, my light fell. Like, this is how it's supposed to be and blah blah blah. But like, I guess I'm going off on a small tangent there while trying to adjust my light. You know what? Fuck this light. It's just gonna go right here and give off a weird little aura, because why the fuck not? So yeah, that was a weird side tangent, and then the light fell. So here we are. um, but anyways, yeah, boycotting the shit's not really gonna make much of a difference. It's really not. If you think that a few thousand people boycotting, we'll say like a WotC game or whatever, is gonna make that much of a difference, it's really not. You have your unicorn event with like the D&D shit, but let's be honest, D&D, that whole area is a lot smaller and doesn't generate as much revenue as Magic does. So yeah, while that kind of got its way with the that open license or whatever that debacle was a while ago, like, proportionally speaking, it doesn't really make much of a difference when compared to like something like Magic, like trying to boycott Magic. It's not going to happen. If 90%, well, that's a way high number. Like, okay, so if we'll say if 40 to 50% of all Magic players decided to not buy anything ever again as far as sealed goes, then yeah, you would have some kind of leeway. But a handful is not going to do anything to a pool that is that big. It's like peeing in a lake. It ultimately doesn't matter. So I guess my point with that one is, like, how do I phrase this without kind of seeming like so much of an asshole? Get off your high horse with fuck WotC, fuck Hasbro. Like, dude, trust me, I 100% get that shit. I really, really do. Because I'm right there with you. Magic is one of those games that you have to more or less carry in this industry, unless for some strange reason you are just a hardcore, dedicated, like, I don't know, Pokemon store, Yu-Gi-Oh store, whatever. Anyways, um, you're just, you're not going to really accomplish what you're going to think you're going to accomplish. You're going to accomplish putting shitholes like mine, and I mean shitholes in the best way possible, shitholes like mine out of business. That's just pretty much the long and short of it. If you continue a boycott of anything that a LGS sells, like and you still want to come to the LGS and play games and blah blah blah, and you don't actually contribute anything to the LGS, it's gonna go under, man. And like buying drinks and shit only goes so fucking far. Like, legit. That does not keep the doors afloat. What keeps the door afloat is everyone buying product, as bare basic as I need to say that, and as like I guess as some of you might be like, fuck capitalism. Fuck you. It is what it is right now. Has to be this way right now because it is. There's no way to change it like right now. Places like mine, either smaller or larger, it relies on you guys making purchases. Um, and I know some of you were like, well, there's online. You're correct. There's online, reach the national audience, but even that has its pitfalls, like we're currently experiencing at the moment. Like I went to switch bank accounts with TCG, and unbeknownst to me, because I forgot about this, I had used the bank account that I was trying to switch the shop's account into, like to open up an account years ago. So they like deactivated the store just right off the dick, just boom, done. And initially I was like, oh, okay, so it's just going to be, inventory is going to be hidden until the account comes back as like, okay, yeah, this is a legitimate account, got the approval, which I got the approval email like on that Monday when it went dark on Saturday. And then I went to click the inventory live, and that's when I knew that it had been deactivated because I got the little message that said your account has been deactivated, contact TCG, blah, blah, blah. So like there's stupid little pitfalls like that can happen, which I mean, I guess, okay, sure, my fault because I wanted to switch bank accounts, but I didn't think that it would end up like this because I didn't even get an email saying, hey, we're going to deactivate your account because this bank account you're switching to is already with this other account. What would you like to do? It was just a done thing. And it's Sunday now, so it's taken a week and a day to get this shit fixed, and I have like no shit lost out on, we'll say, $1,200 to $1,600, just depending on what sold, frequency, and so forth and so forth. That may not sound like a lot of money, but to a small shithole like mine, it's a lot of money. Like 2 or 3 more weeks of this, and probably wouldn't be able to keep the doors open, like full honesty. But you guys already know that shit because I don't hide that kind of stuff. I'm not going to put off this, like, we're doing great. And then, like, 2 days later, we shutter the doors, and you're like, what the fuck? You, like, I mean, that's not going to happen, mind you, but just throwing that one out there. But the online shit has its own pitfalls, stupid stuff like that. There's the never ending, well, I'll say never ending, but it's not, it's a lot, it's enough to be a pain in the ass. So like for TCG, for instance, they don't require you to put shipping on any order that is $20 or less. Guess how many $20 and less orders that I get that just magically go missing in the USPS that I have to refund? It's enough to be a pain in the ass. So you lose money that way. You just, it's not as easy as just, well, throw your shit online, you'll make money. It's like, yeah, you will, but there's a whole bunch of other bullshit that goes along with that it's not just as simple as throw it online, make money. you know? Because everyone seems to have this weird idea in their head that just running a business is as simple as putting your product out there, sell, make money. There are so many little tedious things along the way that either prevent you from making that money, take such an amount out of what you sell that you only end up making $5 or $10 on top of what you bought it for. It's a huge pain in the ass. It's the price of doing business, so forth and so forth. I just don't think a lot of people actually realize all of the stupid little pitfalls that there are to running not just a shop like this, but just any fucking business, really. Unless you're in some kind of a weird, like, just manufacturing only, where you just manufacture I don't know, plane parts, or I don't know, electrical boxes or something. Something that's always in need of, something that's always going to be there. That's a stable thing, so you don't have to worry about it too terribly much. But something like this, like, there's so much bullshit that goes along with it that it's unreal, man. And I knew that going into this, so I'm not like whining and crying about it, but I just want people to understand and realize that it's a thing. There's so much bullshit that goes along with it. Like, even with the people who don't run a shop, who just do this shit out of their basement, talk to them. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, unless they have like a significant other like helping them do shit, and it's just them doing stuff on top of whatever the hell they do, it's a pain in the ass. It's not like such a pain in the ass where you're going to stop doing it and all that, but it's literally just like, little grains of fucking sand that just build up and build up and build up, and it just, shit just happens. Um, but I guess I kind of lost my train of thought there with the squirrel. It's just a rambling video. So, like, there's no real point to this one either. Just want to kind of put that one out there also. But I guess to go back to it, like, your boycotts aren't really going to do anything. You're just hurting LGSs, especially small ones like mine. Your fucking Moon City games and all that shit, Channel Snowballs, and, like, I don't know, card castles and all that shit. Your franchises, they don't give a shit. Like, go ahead, boycott shit, don't buy from them. There's 9 other people online to buy the product that you didn't want to buy. And that's kind of the gist with buying through distributors as well. Like, they don't give a fuck. They really don't. Like, your individual like account manager might, because you've talked to this person, you've built a reputation with them, like you kind of know them, you joke with them, so forth and so forth. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that they don't give a shit either. You cannot, if you guys were to boycott everything Magic and me not purchase any Magic from any of my distributors ever again, does not make a fuck to them, because they have so many other SKUs of products, that in their diverse pipeline of shit, it's like an octopus, man. They could lose an arm, the magic arm, and there's 7 other ones over here just doing the thing. And, eventually this one will grow back, because let's be honest, Magic's not going anywhere. So, like, the only person who gets fucked in this whole boycott thing or whatever are small stores like mine. And then, yeah, okay, so there's bad PR and all that good shit that goes along with it. Your fucking keyboard warriors are getting fucking Twitter points and shit for their virtue signals, and, oh, I'm never gonna do that. You probably weren't ever gonna fucking buy anything from that anyways. It's like people boycotting video games or some shit. Like, the people saying, I'm never gonna buy this, were probably never gonna fucking buy it anyways. So, like, it's, I don't know, dude. A weird ramble, I know, and it's just because I'm in a weird headspace, I guess. But hey, not everything can be fucking rainbows, ice cream, sunny days, and fucking unicorns, right? Um, so yeah, just buy shit, you know? And I know you guys know this, and it's just something that I keep telling you guys too when you get here. It's like, you know, I love you guys. I love you. You're great fucking people. Enjoy the shit out of you and all that good stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to keep coming to this place and have my charming personality in your daily lives or weekly lives or whatever, or any of the minions, like, you gotta spend shit. And that's just the fucking cold hard truth of it, you know? 3D printing shit sucks. Like, going on eBay and buying shit for like $3 or $4 fucking dollars less than what you can buy it for new is kind of a shit thing, but it is a thing. I get it. Like, and that sounds like me being a dick, and I'm really not. I'm just kind of being honest, throwing that shit out there. Like, you know, a lot of fucking places aren't going to tell you this shit either. They're just going to put on that fucking faux corporate dick sucking smile and just be what it is when it is. Everything's great, and oh no, I don't feel that way, and blah 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 blah. Like, nah, motherfucker, you do feel the same way. You just fucking, for some strange reason, don't want to throw this shit out there like that. You feel like it's going to get negative press for your shop or whatever, negative things and blah blah, which it might, but like ultimately, dude, like it's just us. Like it's just the shop. It's me. It's the ultimate like feeling in general with most LGSs though, even if they're not gonna fucking tell you. Um, and I know for randoms who might stumble across this video or whatever, you might think that I'm a complete and total asshole, but I'm not. I I'm actually. I mean, a lot of my locals would kind of vouch for that. I'm really not an asshole. I'm really easy to get along with, work with, all that good stuff. It's just I'm a lot more blunt than most places would like to be, and that's just us. That's us at the shop. Most of my minions are that way too because I've told them to be. Like, if there's fuckery going on, I've basically told them just acknowledge the fuckery and let it play out the way it's gonna play out. Like, own that shit, man. Like, trying to cover it up and sweet talk shit is only going to make the truth worse when it gets exposed versus then if you're just here it is, you know. But anyways, man, uh yeah, I got nothing else. I guess I really just kind of wanted to ramble a tad bit just to get shit off of my mind. Um Most of these things are pretty much just fucking therapeutic ways for me to just to get the shit out of my head and out into the world and not have it bottled up. So if any of this shit offends you, like, I'm sorry and not sorry at the same time. Um, so yeah, just, you know, fucking come to the shop, have a good time, spend money, make sure we keep around, or any fucking shop you go to. I don't care if it's mine, the other shop like 10 minutes down the road, the other three shops 30 minutes down the road in the other fucking town. Like, just go there and spend money. Like, you're going to have to spend money at these places to keep them around. And I get it that a lot of them, their online shit is like 80% of what they do. I don't want to end up like that. You know, I don't want it to be strictly online as my biggest focus because it's what makes me money. So I have to focus on it. Because if I don't focus on it, it falters and then we don't make money and we close. I would much rather have a booming local fucking community to where I know that 80% of what I sell is going into our local fucking community and not some random place out in fucking Arizona or some shit. Like, that's just how I feel. And I guess it's because I'm fucking 40 years old and grew up where like LGSs and online weren't really gaining as much traction or whatever or prominent as they are now, you know? But like you can't just go to a place and be like, well, I'm just going to go here, hang out with some buddies, spend 3 hours, not spend anything because, oh, they have an online store. Everything's fine. I can just continue to show up and not do anything, and they're still going to be here. Might be the case, might not be the case. You don't really fucking know. So, you know, just contribute, I guess. Uh, I don't know, dude. And also, as I keep saying in other videos too, like whenever a place hosts events and it's a small little place like mine, and you're always like, well, no one's gonna show up. If you keep that mindset, no one is ever gonna show up. So like, stop. Fucking come out to the shop and bring someone with you or some shit. Because if everyone has that mentality of well, X, Y, and Z is not going to fire, so I'm not going to go, then it's never going to go. It's never going to fire off. And eventually, the events just won't be there for even the chance to get fired off. So keep that in mind too. I don't know, man. It's just, like I said, it's just cathartic for me to sit here and bitch for a little bit. And I know some of the shit that I said is going to piss some of you off or whatever. But, like, come to the shop and let's talk about it. Give me your perspective. Give me your point of view. Like, help me understand where you're coming from better so maybe I can better serve people like you with your mind frame or whatever. I just, I don't know, dude. And I know it sounds like doom and gloom and all that shit, but it's really not. Like we're fine. I just keep, I don't know, running into scenarios where it just kind of keeps poking and getting under my skin to where it feels like I have to elaborate on this shit. I have to put this shit out there. Even though I know there's only gonna be like fucking 10 of you that watch this shit, I still have to throw it out there. Um, but yeah, I guess I'm fucking done. Uh, Long story short, buy shit from your LGS. Buy more than just a drink or two. Drinks and snacks do not carry a shop. You know, if you see a model on the wall that is brand new for fucking $39.99 and then you look at fucking eBay and it's $35.99, pay the extra $5, get the damn model right then and there because you're still going to have to pay shipping most likely and you're still going to have to pay taxes on it. So you're really only going to be saving $3 or $4 if that. So, man, just fucking be like Nike and just do it. Just just do it. Just spend money. like, you know, a lot of you will drop, $50 on a fucking Stanley Cup, but are hesitant to drop $20 in an actual brick and mortar shop. And just kind of the way it is. So, anywho, I'm a fuck off or something. We'll see. You guys have a good one.